Have you ever had one of those moments? You put a full bowl of food right in front of your cat. She walks over, gives it a sniff, eats maybe two little bites. Then she flicks her tail and struts away. Just when you're completely confused, she wanders back a few minutes later. She meows at you like she's starving. You can't help but wonder, is she full or is she hungry? Well, she's not playing mind games with you. Hide behind this little drama is a secret about how cats eat. It's totally different from what we humans imagine. Today, we are diving into some really fun research by a group of Japanese scientists. They uncovered a kind of magical switch tucked right under a cat's nose, a smell switch that controls whether they eat or walk away. He, I'm your guide to the curious corners of science, and we're starting off with one of the most common head scratchers for cat owners. A lot of cat folks know that dogs tend to inhale their food. They practically vacuum it up, always seeming hungry. But cats are different. They're natural grazers, little and often. They doze all day, wake up, stroll over for a few nibbles, and repeat. They can eat a dozen tiny meals in a day. For a long time, we thought this was just about stomach size. Their tummies are small, right? But today I'm going to tell you that's only half the story. A team of animal behavior researchers from Iwate University in Japan got really curious. They wanted to know something. What exactly makes a cat walk away from a meal before it's gone? Is it just that they put a bit of food in their belly? They had a bold hunch. It pointed to a sense we often overlook: smell. They believed a cat's boredom with food might not come from the stomach, it might come straight from the nose, meaning a cat doesn't stop eating because it's full. It stops because the smell has stopped being exciting. When it comes back to eat again later, it's not suddenly hungry again. Its nose has recharged its interest in that food's aroma. To test this, the scientists designed a series of clever, real lifestyle experiments. They recruited 12 healthy adult house cats. 6 were male and 6 were female. They ranged in age from 3 to 15 years old. These pampered kitties lived in a big 3-story cat villa. They had comfy temperatures and a pretty nice life. To make sure they'd be interested in food, the cats fasted for 16 hours. Imagine going all evening, night, and morning without a bite. They had to be pretty hungry. In the very first test, the researchers noticed something that really spelled it out. They put 20 grams of the cat's regular food in front of each one. And guess what? The researchers ran 120 feeding trials. The cats cleaned their bowls completely only 4 times. 4. In most cases, these hungry cats ate about a third of it. That's roughly 6.8 grams. Then they just stopped. Even after 16 hours with no food, they didn't finish it all at once. This proved something pretty solid. Stopping before the bowl is empty is totally normal cat nature. It's not just a sign they're stuffed. All right, with that settled, the real main event began. The scientists set up a loop to mimic a cat's little and often eating style. Each round, they gave the cat 10 minutes with the food. Then they took the bowl away for a 10-minute break. Then they gave it back for another 10 minutes. They repeated this for 6 cycles total. This way, they could clearly see something. A cat's enthusiasm changed each time they offered the same food. First, what happens if you serve the same cat food for all 6 rounds? They used both standard food and a special high palatability food. The cats loved this special food. Yet the results were strikingly similar. The amount they ate slid down like a playground slide, round after round. In the first round, they'd munch away enthusiastically. By round 3 or 4, they might just wander over. They'd take a sniff, give a polite little lick, and walk off. It's like if someone served you the same instant noodles 6 times in a row, even if it's your favorite. By the sixth bowl, you'd be so over it. But here's where it gets interesting. Then the scientists switched things up. They offered a different cat food in each round. The pattern changed completely. Their overall appetite did still drop a little, but that decline was much, much gentler. The total amount they ate was way higher. This was compared to when they got the same food every time. It was even higher than when that one food was their absolute favorite. Simply mixing up the menu kept their eating excitement a lot higher. Now, you might be thinking, that's obvious. Anyone gets tired of eating the same thing. But hold on. The most mind blowing, perception shattering part of this study is yet to come. The scientists ask an even deeper question. Did the new food's taste and texture reignite the cat's appetite, or was it just the new smell? To tease this apart, they made a genius piece of equipment. They built a special two-layer food bowl with a divider full of tiny holes. The top layer held the food the cat could actually eat. The bottom layer held other food that the cat couldn't reach. But the smell from the bottom layer could float up through the holes. It went right into the cat's nose. Here's how they ran it. For the first 5 rounds, both layers had the same food. Let's call it food A. As expected, the cats ate less and less each time. By round 5, they were barely touching it. Then, for the crucial 6th round, the researchers secretly swapped the bottom layer. They used a totally different food, food B. It had a completely different smell. The top layer was still the boring old food A. That's what they could actually eat. And something remarkable happened. When the cats came over and sniffed, they caught this brand new scent. Just that new smell skyrocketed their interest. They suddenly dug into the same old food. Their intake shot right back up. The food in their mouths hadn't changed one bit, yet simply inhaling a new aroma made them dig in all over again. Even crazier, the scientists found something. This smell based appetite revival didn't depend on the sense appeal. It didn't matter if the new scent was from a food the cat liked or not. They used a low palatability food as the new scent source. This is something cats normally don't care for. It still woke up their appetite for the boring food. Think of it this way. You're so sick of plain white rice. Then from next door, you catch a whiff of something. It's something you don't even like, say, bitter melon. And suddenly, you feel a little more interested in that bowl of rice. This finding totally flips our usual logic upside down. So, what about the opposite? What if a cat keeps smelling the same food, even when it's not eating? The researchers tested that too. During the 10-minute rest breaks between rounds, one group of cats smelled the same food. They were exposed to the exact aroma they'd just eaten. A comparison group got breaks with no food smells at all. The results? The cats that smelled the same aroma during breaks ate less in the next round. They got bored of that food smell faster and more strongly. It's like being stuck in a kitchen full of greasy cooking smells. When the food finally hits the table, your appetite is already gone. When you string all these results together, they reveal a beautiful system. It's a precise smell regulation system behind a cat's eating habits. It comes down to what scientists call olfactory habituation and dishabituation. Habituation means your brain's response gets smaller and smaller. This happens when the same stimulus repeats over and over. You basically start to ignore it. Remember walking into a room with a strong floral scent? At first, it's overpowering, but after a while, you barely notice it. That's habituation. For a cat, sniffing the same food aroma affects the brain. The areas that process smell get a little lazy. The circuits that create the urge to eat do too. The smell loses its pulling power. and the cat loses its motivation to continue. So your cat likely stops eating for a different reason. It's not because its stomach is full. Its nose and brain have become desensitized to that food. It just doesn't smell interesting anymore. And dishabituation happens when a new stimulus comes along. It jolts those drowsy brain circuits awake again. They become sensitive and responsive once more. So, a brand new food smell hits your cat's nose. Even with the same older food, their whole food attention system gets refreshed. It reactivates, their olfactory curiosity lights up, the brain's reward pathways kick in. They essentially say, hey, new good stuff, go eat. This perfectly explains something. Just a scent can make a seemingly full cat start chowing down again. This discovery also gives us a fresh look. It shows us the ancestors of our domestic cats. Their forebears, the African wildcats, were solitary hunters. They made a living catching small prey like mice and birds multiple times a day. They weren't downing one big wildebeest and then fasting for 2 days. They needed to hunt often. Each hunt could bring a different kind of prey, and that meant a different smell. A nose that's highly sensitive and quickly adapts would help them. They could constantly seek new food sources. They could maximize their nutrient intake at the same time rapidly getting used to a single food smell would prevent overeating. It would preserve their drive to hunt. That ancient instinct now appears in your modern house cat. It leads to small, frequent meals. It also makes them get bored with the food's aroma and crave novelty. So now you might have an aha moment. Why does your cat come running like crazy? Maybe when you crack open a new flavor of wet food. Why does she stare at leftovers and meow with a disgruntled look? Why not just finish them? You really can't blame her for being picky or wasteful. A lot of it is that super sensitive nose. It tells her brain, I smelled this stuff 10 minutes ago. It's a total snooze fest. Bring me something new. Now, what can diligent cat servants take away from this research? It's actually super practical. If your cat seems to have lost her appetite lately, don't rush. Don't switch to all kinds of new foods. Instead, use this idea of olfactory dishabituation and try simple scent management. For example, keep her dry food sealed in an airtight container. This way, she isn't constantly exposed to that same smell. She gets a break when she's not eating. Give her nose a real break between meals so it can fully reset. Then, when it's mealtime again, that familiar aroma will seem fresher. It will be more tempting. For a sick cat in a collar or one with poor appetite, try this. Introduce a tiny hint of a novel, healthy food smell. Don't change the main diet. This clever trick can spark her interest again. Just make sure that novel scent comes from a safe food. Avoid random artificial fragrances. On the flip side, if your cat is struggling with weight, do the opposite. You're trying to manage it. Try not to switch flavors too often. Avoid letting her sniff different food smells, especially when she isn't supposed to be eating. That can keep her drive to eat revved up. It can lead to overeating. All in all, this wonderfully clever study tells us something. For a cat, eating is far more than just filling a belly. It's a sensory game led by the nose, a whole olfactory experience. Every sniff, every encounter with a novel smell keeps dynamically tuning their mysterious little appetite. Inside that fluffy head, they perceive the world through scent, especially their judgment of food. It's built by the scent universe, their wet little nose constructs. So, next time your cat sniffs a bowl, takes 2 bites, and strolls off, don't worry. She's probably not protesting, and she's probably not feeling sick. She's just speaking in primal feline. She's saying, I've gotten used to this smell. The fun of this meal is temporarily over. What you can do is simply cover that bowl Let the food aroma fade away. Give her a little time. Her world can fill back up with curiosity and anticipation. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this peek into your cat's olfactory world helps. It might help you understand your furry family member a little better. We'll see you next time.